Okay, okay. We are welcome. We are welcome. Welcome from wherever you are watching from. Welcome. Welcome to Humanist TV. Welcome. Welcome. Welcome to Humanist TV. Welcome on the show. Welcome to the show where we shall be addressing today self-determination and humanism, ending armed struggle in Africa. Stay with me. Welcome, welcome to the studio. Welcome once again. With you today is Obasi Ikechukwu. This is Humanist African TV.
Love to
Welcome,
appreciate
welcome to today's show. Welcome.
the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, which has in fact been domesticated by Nigeria. The right to self-determination is guaranteed. And
advise them to go about it?
well, the government of Nigeria will have to appreciate that by virtue of Article 20 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, which has in fact been domesticated by Nigeria, the right to self-determination is guaranteed. And
Thank you. We are back. We are back. That was a famous human rights lawyer, Barrister Femi Falana, SAN, speaking on the topic today, human self-determination, right to self-determination. Let us start. Good morning, good day, everyone, wherever you are watching from. Welcome to today's show on Humanist TV, where we shall be addressing the subject matter, humanism and self-determination, ending armed struggle in Africa. Exactly, ending armed struggle in Africa. So, stay with me as we also listen to another famous lawyer before we get into the business of the day. Barrister Aloy Jimako will be addressing us. Will be addressing us on the show. He'll be giving us his take on right to self-determination. Oh yes, Barrister Aloy Jimako is a legal practitioner to reckon.
In
Yes,
1970.
he's a legal practitioner to reckon.
The right to self-determination is a right that is guaranteed internationally, domestically, and continentally. It's within the black letters of Nigerian law at Article 20 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. The right to self-determination is guaranteed. So the formation of IPOB did not break any law.
All right, we are back. We are back. Now let's get to the business. Let's go to the business of the day. Actually, self-determination is a topic that sparks a lot of controversy out there. But in today's episode, we shall be addressing this in earnest. First, self-determination has been given impliedly negative denotations like words, separatism, secession. But I will always say that the word secession would not have been in the lexicon of Africa, where Ubuntu is the norm, if not that the colonial masters crafted some entities for colonial convenience, for colonial administration convenience, and not for the progress of those crafted entities, So these entities we call country, now best described as a warring zone, are crafted not for human development. They are now warring zones that surviving the peace in the words of Chinua Achebe becomes a problem, a topical issue to address. So the sustenance of some of these crafted entities have led to lots of plethora of violations of human rights. And as a result of this, As a result of these human rights violations, there are a lot of agitations all over Africa. Everywhere in Africa, people agitate. We want self-determination. We want this. We want that. Yes, the people of Togoland, the people of Togoland in Ghana. Yes, you can actually show the slide. The people of Togoland in Ghana are also agitating for self-determination. Yes, and Oduduwa people in Western Nigeria. Yes, the Oduduwa people that are looking for Oduduwa Republic. That was why they formed OPC, Oduduwa People's Congress. Not only that, you have Biafra, majorly Igbos in the eastern and the coastal areas of Nigeria. So, this is not, the quest for determination is not first of its kind. Rhodesia separated into Zambia and Zimbabwe. South Sudan and North Sudan separated and went their parted ways. It's not a new thing. It is not the first of its kind. The agitation in Nigeria is not caused by reason relating to some of our Igbo we are Jews superiority mantra, which I call superiority complex mantra, which I choose to. In the last show, I identified such notion as inferiority complex. No, far from that. People do not seek self-determination, though some persons do not seek self-determination because they feel they are important. No, they seek self-determination. As we go further, you will see, for survival, to determine their fate, as a means of agitating against marginalization, maladministration, misgovernance by the ruling party. So they do not seek a right to self-determination because they feel they are so important. Though why some, people that have some levels of low mentality think they are seeking self-determination because they are that clash that we are special people because we are Jewish, an inferiority complex. Though they will still think they are superior, whereas they are not. So sometimes it's not the reason, because if actually that reason is why people seek for self-determination, there won't be self-determination quest in Togoland. There won't be self-determination quest in places like Dudua land in Nigeria and some other places where agitation is going on. Even in Britain, yes, there is this call for self-determination. Also, there some persons are calling for an independence. Just like Nigeria or every other African society, we've been certain things, certain principles of life we don't like have been imposed on us. If you go to UK, Great Britain, there was a time some Normans from France came and conquered Britain and imposed a form of an imposed common law. But people will always agitate. When the common law was imposed and it began to be harsh, result in harshness and some technicalities and some injustice, the people began to clamor, and equity, the principles of equity was put up to replace the harshness of the common law. So there will be agitations, there will always be agitations, because when people think, especially because of colonialism, because of maladministration, because of domination, because of subjugation, there are so many reasons for self-determination. So self-determination, in quest for self-determination, or rather what some persons will give a negative vibe, secession, is rather caused by the fact that the British, let me use Nigeria as a case study. These agitations for self-determination in Nigeria is not related to that inferiority complex, whatever. It is related to this fact. It is caused by the fact that the British imperialism ended their colonialism in Nigeria and pushed the Nigerian indigenous people to caliphate colonialism. You know, if you read a book written by Professor Chinwizu, Caliphate Colonialism, the root cause of a problem in Nigeria, you will understand this. The indigenous population are subjected to all forms of annihilation. Do we get it? So, if you come to Nigeria, let us not even talk about the Igbos. If you come to Nigeria, the tribe that suffers this brunt of domination, of annihilation more, are the indigenous Hausa people, politically and economically toppled and emasculated since the Ottoman Danfodio jihadist coup. I call it a jihadist coup because it toppled every system in Nigeria and introduced a form of Fulanization. So this was period to the advent of British colonialism. You can imagine we have Muslim president. We have Muslim president. We have Muslim vice president currently in Nigeria. So the indigenous Hausa tribe is not agitating because majority of the population have been bought over, yeah, using religion, poverty, and death threats as tools. It's not as if what is happening in Nigeria does not raise concern. No, it is not. The tool of religion, poverty, poverty have been weaponized by the elites, by the persons that promote this agenda. It has been weaponized. So because of this, they don't rise up to, to speak up. And mind you, the minority that rise to speak up are being targeted. Persons like our embattled Mubarak Bala, Mariam, and even Heru the scholar. The outside tribe, whenever the outside tribe may, rise up to agitate, it will be more radical. You understand? The Hausa agitation may be more radical anytime, any day, any group, not bought over, rise up to fight against the caliphate colonialism. Because these are the people that the jihadist coup of 1804 affected most. Their indigenous history, some of the indigenous emirs have been replaced, and you have people, you cannot become an emir in the north except you identify with Islam. If you go to so many of the northern states, the leaders must be Muslims. If you're not a Muslim, you are not respected in the north. That is how they have been emasculated, and nobody is speaking up. Why you see our people speaking up, the Igbo and the Yoruba speaking up mostly, is because our culture predisposes us to speak up. We are egalitarian people. The Yoruba people, they are egalitarian. They have this, this ancient form of checks and balances in the Yoruba. In Igbo, we are democrats. When a leader begins to do some lord it over others, we topple the person. So that is why you see us agitating. So you see us agitating. But over there, they are, more centralized in their culture. So that is why a person may actually use one means or the other to, get them to submit to maladministration without anybody talking. And they feel that talk, it will be easier for them to be targeted, just like Mubarak Bala and others I have mentioned. And I dare say that a humanist and all lovers of human welfare should not seek or advocate for the sustenance of these colonial entities called countries at the expense of human life, human dignity, and other fundamental human rights violations. We should seek that these merged entities reconcile their differences and live together in harmony or peacefully part their ways. if their differences are so irreconcilable? Let me ask, if we reject foreign religion for the mayhem they wreak in our various countries, we should equally, why not equally, reject any foreign man-crafted entity that leads to human rights violations? Because as humanists, humanity is supreme and the centerpiece of whatever agitation we are doing. And anything that that can do mayhem to humanity should be resisted or should be agitated against. After all, self-determination is a fundamental human right enshrined in both United Nations Charter and the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. As I often opine, humanists are human rights activists by default. So we should, respect people's right to self-determination because it's part of our fundamental human rights. So when we say that people should not have some of these rights, we're invariably violating rights. And that is non-humanistic. So now, the objective of this program is to distinguish between ethnic, yes, having talked about, give an overview of self-determination. Let me now delve into the objectives, the major objective of this program. Look, the objective of this program is to distinguish between ethnic jingoism, tribal indoctrination, and right to self-determination, which is the topical issue today. This will enable us debunk misinformation about the road to self-determination in order to discourage and attempt to put an end to armed struggle. Exactly. So a lot of persons, in as much as self-determination, I call on all humanists to support right to self-determination as a fundamental human right. In as much as I do that, I also know that some persons hide under the pretense of self-determination to promote ethnic jingoism, toxic tribal indoctrination, making people think that my tribe is too special. I think we discussed about that in the last show that I hosted. Nobody is important. If you want to seek for self-determination, you should do that in an appropriate manner, not spread hate speech. Remember, whenever you are exercising your right, another person's right should also be respected in the exercise of your fundamental right. So that is it. You cannot use misinformation, use hate speech, use ethnic jingoism, or tribal indoctrination as a means of seeking right to self-determination. Because that will be saying that two wrongs make a right. Because the essence of, as we shall see in the provisions of the extant laws, the essence of seeking self-determination is to salvage yourself from slavery and domination and colonialism. You understand? So when you want to salvage yourself from a particular wrong, I want to salvage yourself from a particular wrong through, doing another wrong. It is quite discouraged. It is quite categorically discouraged. So let's look at what the law says about this self-determination. Articles 1, and 55 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights recognize right to self-determination of the indigenous people in quote. Then to cap it up, our regional law in Africa, which is African Charter on Human and People's Rights, which is variously ratified in various countries in Africa, in the continent Africa. Under Article 20 sub 1 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, it is provided that people shall have right to existence. In the second sentence, is very, very important. Mark that sentence. They shall have unquenchable and inalienable right to self-determination, unquenchable and unquenchable and inalienable right to self-determination, which means is a fundamental human right that cannot be derogated upon unless the person is going it in a lawful way through terrorism, ethnic jingoism, toxic tribal indoctrination, and hate speech. That is far from that. You can actually hold a person responsible and charge the person for terrorism and some of these hate speeches. But aside that, if the person is going in accordance with the law, is a right, an inalienable right that nobody can take away. So the last sentence they say in the same Article 20 sub 1 of the Charter, they shall freely determine their political and economic status. Do you understand? So moving forward, Article 20 sub 2 of the same charter provides that colonized or oppressed people shall have right to free themselves from bonds of domination by resorting to any means recognized by international law, by giving recourse to various international humanitarian laws. Exactly what I've been saying. The Hausa people are not fighting for self-determination because most of them have been subjugated. They have been emasculated, that it is just 1%, or will I say 2%, out of the population that sometimes think freely. And even if you think and you have been identified, you are in trouble, just as our friend is now detained for rising up. They feel that from being a humanist, he will grow more egos to questioning the jihadist supremacy or the caliphate supremacist. So that is why he's not facing, any prosecution. He's just being persecuted. So that is it. That is why in Article 19, over to the discourse, in Article 19 of the African Charter, in addition to the domination mentioned in Article 20 sub 2, that charter in the last sentence provides that nothing shall justify domination of a people by another. Not even that is why I say not even the need for united African, for African unity. No, African unity should not be at the expense of human dignity and human rights. So, any point in time, I'm always ready to, support right to self-determination whenever it is conducted in an appropriate manner. That is why I am calling on the Ghanaian government to stop the repression of the Togoland. I am calling on the Nigerian government to stop the repression of what is necessary called right to self-determination. Yes, I am calling on these people to stop it. Good. Reacting to right to self-determination, which Nigerian government has regarded as treason or terrorism, the Nigerian courts have variously held that self-determination is a fundamental right recognized under Nigerian law. In Igboho's case, Sunday Igboho, as well as that of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, you can show us the newspaper report. Shows the newspaper report where the government recognized right to self-determination and held that the agitation of the two actors are not unlawful, are not criminal. Yes, it is stated black and white. It is stated black and white somewhere in a newspaper report. In a newspaper report, that right to self-determination is not a crime. It is a fundamental right. In a newspaper report, it is stated there black and white. The various high courts, in Nigeria, the court in charge of enforcing fundamental human rights is the high court. Is the high court of either the states or of the federal high court or the state high court. So these high courts have stated in their ruling in their ruling that self-determination is a guaranteed right. So there is need. So this is Professor. The first picture was Professor Chinwizu, and the second picture was the picture of Ottoman Danfodio. Then over to, this is indicating the agitations of the Western Togoland in Ghana. So over to what I was saying. In the Nigerian court, there have been, various ruling uh, indicating that self-determination. There are newspaper reports. Yes, he will show them later. He will show them since it's not available now. So there are some newspaper reports that shows that the right to self-determination is not a crime. For instance, Justice Onovo of the Enugu State High Court of Nigeria held that self-determination is a fundamental right and not a crime, and no one should be prosecuted for exercising this right. But yes, that is Western Togoland. Yes, that is the court ruling on self-determination. Justice Onovo of the State High Court of Nigeria, of Enugu State High Court of Nigeria, holding that self-determination is not a crime and no one should be persecuted or prosecuted for exercising this right. Yes, oh yes. Then the next shall be, that of Sunday Igboho. Okay, over. Let's go. But despite this court ruling, yes, you see, yes. Thank you for that. So, despite this court ruling, it is obvious that people are prosecuted and even persecuted for exercising right to self-determination. But in Ghana, in Ambazonia, there's also an agitation going on. So people are being persecuted. People are being seen as criminals for, seeking right to self-determination. Let me go back to the memory lane. Linda Tilly, while she was alive, reported to me the persecution of Togoland people in Ghana for seeking right to self-determination, That is why this morning on self-determination topic, I am calling on the world to stop persecuting people seeking self-determination, unless the international humanitarian laws or other related humanitarian laws are infringed. Then you can actually charge the person for infringement of those laws. But if the person is honestly agitating for self-determination, is appropriate. The person should not be subject to any form of any form of persecution or the person being seen as a criminal. No, quest for self-determination is not a criminal act. It's an act recognized under the law. Yes, let me play the third video from a famous lawyer I hold on a high esteem. Yes, on self-determination. He condemned the fact that the group seeking self-determination have been subjected to or have been tagged terrorist organization. And this is part of the things I am here today to debunk. Okay, this is
High Court today.
Yes,
scored this landmark victory at the Enugu State High Court today on behalf of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The subject of this lawsuit is simply the proscription of IPOB in 2017. Firstly, by the Southeast governors whose fire the first salvo on 14 September 2017, followed by the executive decision of the federal government to proscribe IPOB and declare it a terrorist organization. We didn't come to court to contest the judicial proscription. It's a different matter altogether. But the executive decision or executive action taken before the judicial decision. Why? Because such actions are prohibited expressly under Section 42 of the Nigerian Constitution. It's a fundamental right of every Nigerian citizen not to be discriminated against in the exercise of government policies, actions, and decisions. It's clear under Section 42 of the Constitution. A lot of Nigerians are not aware of this, so they let it fly each time the government steps on them through its executive actions or decisions. But we are vigilant to that. So we noted that the action that the Southeast governors took, proscribing IPOB, was an executive action. It was an executive decision, followed 3 days later by the federal government that raised a memo through the Attorney General of the Federation to the President approving the proscription of IPOB and declaration of the group as a terrorist group. All of this together combined constitute the prohibited executive actions or decisions they sought.
All right, welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show. Yes, let's continue. That was Barrister Aloy Ejimako, counsel to Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of one of the self-determination group in Nigeria called Indigenous People of Biafra. Yes, currently he made a milestone history, a milestone victory. Yes, a victory that has now become a milestone, become a milestone history by, getting the court to nullify the proscription of IPOB, the Indigenous People of Biafra, agitating for Biafra Republic, which has lasted since from 2017 to now, to this year when he got the judgment. That was Barrister Aloy Ejimako. So over to our discourse. However, in as much as self-determination is a guaranteed right under extant laws, there is the need for these agitation strategies to be lawful, civil, and in accordance with recognized means, not through misinformation and appeal to mythology such as Igbo's Jews mantra, despite 2017 DNA debunking such false claims. No, it's not like that. Not like that at all. Not like that. The appropriate manner would have been engaging the government, political lobbying, civil disobedience, just like a person like Mahatma Gandhi of India used, just like persons like Kenneth Kaunda of Zambia did. So it should be done in a civil manner, in a manner accepted by international humanitarian law, not through terrorism. No, you can engage in civil protest, civil disobedience, engage the government, lobby the national, not through ethnic jingoism, not through that. It is often through the appropriate manner. That is why Article 27, Sub 2 of the African Charter, the same African Charter, provides for regard for other people's rights in exercise of our various rights. So whenever you're exercising your rights, you should also realize that other people also has rights. Other people also have rights. That is why in your exercise of self-determination, you don't use terrorism, because through terrorist act, other people can be affected. You don't use ethnic jingoism, because ethnic jingoism results in hate speech, results in hate, inter-ethnic hatred, so which can as well affect us, negatively. So that is why you don't resort to that. You appropriate, you appropriate you appropriate lawful means. You use lawful means to agitate, because our rights stops where other people's rights start. So let's go on an entertainment break. Let's go on an entertainment break. When we come back, we shall be concluding this show. Let's go on an entertainment break, and they say that all works and no play make Jack a dull boy. All works and no play make Jack Nkechi, Jack Amina, a dull boy or a dull girl. So it's not Sister Miss Dagaban. Ha. This why you address gorgeous like this. It's like you went to church.
Yes, so my brother went to church.
Okay, continue. Hope you paid your tithe.
Tithe? Hey! I don't pay tithe though. I don't pay tithe. Do you know what I pay? I pay care or just
What? All right. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to the show where we shall be concluding. On the comment section, I don't know. I want to get comment from the viewers. As I conclude, I want to get some comment from the viewers. So let me continue. You see, as a humanist, let me come to myself. I lean for a peaceful coexistence. But any peaceful coexistence that will wreak havoc and mayhem should be discouraged. I love a united Africa. Okay, this is from Ding Kruja. Yes, that's good. He said that religion is not a friend of the poor. Religion is a friend of misery and suffering. Exactly. When people's rights are being infringed upon, thank you for that, Dean. Thank you, Dean. When people's rights are being infringed upon, they don't speak up because of poverty sometimes. And what promotes this poverty? What promotes the poverty is religiosity. That is why Karl Marx said that religion is an opium for the masses. If you are in your right senses and people, yes, there's this quest for survival. Come to Nigeria, especially to the northern part, where we have one of the richest, wealthiest man in Africa. You see that majority of the northern people are poor, suffering, but they cannot resist. Because poverty plus religiosity, equals to, I don't know, will I say, let me not use that word. Let me not use that word. Poverty plus religiosity equals to a nobody, equals to church rat, equals to abject wretchedness. So whenever you are poor, and instead of, trying to agitate against what has caused your poverty, you lean towards religiosity, you are making yourself poorer. So that is why I love what he stated. Poverty, religion is a bringer of misery and poverty. So let me conclude. So, like I said before, any peaceful coexistence that will wreak havoc should be discouraged. What we should preach is a positive peace, not just having that unquenchable quest to unite Africa. Yes, in the midst of a united Africa, there should also be a peaceful Africa. You understand? Because it is where there is peace that there is actually unity. And it's where there is unity that there is progress. Where there is no unity, there is no progress. But we need to go back to the root first. The root is that it is peace that brings about unity. What we have not yet had unity in Africa, because it seems that most of the crafted entities don't want to be together. So instead of dragging, just like marriage of two couple, if the marriage has broken up irretrievably, in our Nigerian family law jurisdiction, when a marriage under section 15 of the section 15 sub 1 of the Marriage Act, sorry, yes, the matrimonial causes act, when the marriage has broken irretrievably, that you cannot patch it again, the best way is to divorce. That is what self-determination is all about. So that is why I am not against the self-determination if the two marrying parties, or if the various marrying parties, I'm referring to our various countries. If the various marrying parties can no longer stay together, instead of forcing this union at the expense of human dignity, at the expense of peace, it's better for them to part way peacefully, not through war, not through enmity, not through terrorism, no, through a peaceful means. So that is it. So therefore, I should say that peace is progress. Yes, we should not stop, we should not always continue to patch our unity. Peace is progress. So there should be peace in Africa, but not the pretentious type. You understand? The audience, hope you understand. The peace we seek for is not a pretentious type. It is a peace that comes from the heart. Do you understand? And this would be made possible through human rights advocacy. That is where humanism comes into right to self-determination. We humanists should not blindly say we want a united Africa. No, we should say we want a peaceful united Africa. But if peaceful unity cannot work, let's go for, peaceful self-determination of various indigenous population, because we all know that Africa has their own system before the colonial masters came and called us a country, and it's a good one because it has its own importance. But if we cannot sustain togetherness, this togetherness crafted by our colonial masters, self-determination is a welcome ideology. The indigenous population, the indigenous people should have right to self-determination if that is the only thing that will bring about a united Africa. So thank you, the producer, Brian. Thank you, the production team. Thank you, the panelists. I appreciate everyone. I remain Obasi Ikechukwu, one of the panelists, and also a director of Humanist Media Group, and also the director of advocacy of Humanist Advocacy Network, currently Network. Since CAC has said it's not gonna be consort, HACO, I've decided to accept it should be Advocacy Network, Humanist Advocacy Network. So we have come to the end of the show. Thank you, everyone, the viewers, especially Dean that commented on the show. I thank you so much, and see you in the next edition of my show on Humanist Africa, Humanist TV Africa. Humanist TV Africa is always here to give us the best. Yes, Humanist TV is the best anyone can have. Yes, Humanist TV is the best anyone can have. Humanist TV is the best. Always follow us on Humanist TV, where we are reaching out to humanity. Yes. So thank you, the producer, once again. I thank you. Thank you to all the panelists. Thank you to all the viewers once again. Because self-determination, fundamental human right, is a right recognized by the virtue of the fact that we are humans. So since self-determination is a right, let's
Cite
go
the
with
poem
it.
titled
You know,
Agent of the
thank you.
Dark. Now listen. They say I am agent of dark because I worship no skylark. They say I committed heresy because I appeal to no imperial fallacy. They say my divergent views a blasphemy. My delusional kingsmen claim they are Jews, wishing I die in their relative iniquity. They say I'm rebellious for disbelieving the hilarious. They say their sky father is love, expressing it through flood. But they say my preaching love for humanity is all vanity. They say demons can only be dark, and their angels and gods are white, that dwell in the world apart, flowing in honey and wines. As if there is no honey, no jolly here, but the folly of the serpent. They say the imperial almighty savage only those who repent and become men to slaves, who enjoys only after their grave, whose salvation comes from fear of the imperial God's fathers that is dear. I can run, but I can't fly, except in the flights. But we cannot exist beyond our death. We only see beyond our deathbed. I am a proud agent of the dark. I live in a dark soil. Mental slavery cannot set me and my beloved Africa apart. Kemet is civilization. Akebulian is bravery. I am Obasi Ikechukwu. See you in the next edition of Poetry Reciter.